Hey guys, in today's video I will be doing a kind of a more of a tropical go over. I'm going to be going over so far this year's hurricane season, the 2020 Atlantic hurricane season, and just see how we're doing thus far and comparing it to some other hurricane seasons because, of course, this year's hurricane season is naturally being forecast to be potentially one of the most active seasons on record. So that'll be something very interesting to talk about and discuss. Now, you may notice that while you're watching this, the camera is kind of going all over the place a bit. I accidentally broke the tripod that I usually put my phone up against to film these videos. So now I'm trying to do it by holding my phone by hand and showing you guys the screen that way. We'll see how well this goes. But so I wanted to pull up the National Hurricane Center's website, because I want to just really talk about how they've really every single disturbance that they've been looking at thus far through the season, it has pretty much every single one has developed into a named system, except for, well, that one that they were monitoring down here in the MDR region, but they just really kept that at a very low chance of development anyway. But, I mean, all of the other systems formed, really all of them formed right near the East Coast. So far this year, it looks like the East Coast has been a pretty huge hotspot. And we'll see how that continues, see if that'll continue or not. Yeah, this has been very interesting, and I think most likely we will likely see the next disturbance be monitored by the National Hurricane Center towards July 20th, between July 20th and August 1st, really. I think we'll see one, maybe two more systems for the rest of July, but I do think that Hannah, the H name, which we're only 2 names away from, I think that'll actually happen though in very early August, probably will form within the first few days of August. I would say as of right now, and really the main reason I am thinking of it that way is because for the past few weeks, couple weeks, 2-3 weeks more or less, the Enzo region has been warming a lot recently, and well, it looks like now it's starting to try and cool down. Right now, though, it's at positive 0.158 degrees Celsius, which is really interesting because that is really the warmest it has warmed up since the beginning of May, honestly. Because between the beginning of May and like a week or two ago, it was generally trying to stay right around the perfectly neutral line, or kind of a little below that. But all of a sudden now we see it trying to cool down now again finally, and it's so that could still mean that all our forecasts as of right now are still going to be fairly accurate, because of the fact that actually now on top of this, we are in a La Nina watch, so the NOAA is really thinking that we really could actually be going into a La Nina, honestly, fairly soon because of that. So that'll be interesting to see how that goes, and see what happens with that. Now, you can see the sea surface temperatures. I gotta find my mouse. Oh, here it is. The 7-day change just over this past week, it generally has been warming up more than it has been cooling down, but generally has been like warm pockets, cool pockets, so kind of more neutral at this point. But really, it's just been a lot warmer, becoming a lot warmer than it typically would. Let's look at the sea surface temperatures for the North Atlantic. And you can see that, I mean, as of right now, well, first of all, I would really want to say that like we've been seeing, really, the MDR region has really started to warm up a lot. We're seeing a lot more of those 26, 27, 28 degrees Celsius, 26, 27, 28 degrees Celsius water temperatures in a lot of places. This area will continue really to warm up. At least most of this area will continue to warm up, most likely over the next month or so, month or two. So really, once we get into the prime time with all those waves coming off of Africa, which we've already seen a lot of, but of course it hasn't really been in a favorable time yet for those to try and really develop into tropical systems. But once we get into the end of July and into August and September, when it becomes a lot more favorable, we'll see all those waves really try and develop here, and it'll be a lot warmer here, of course. And then really what we'll have to watch out for is once these waves potentially develop and move westward towards the Caribbean, Gulf, East Coast, I think the hot spot for this is really going to be the very western Caribbean. Really, all of the Gulf. All of the Gulf right now, actually, surprisingly enough, is around 90 degrees Fahrenheit already, and around the Florida Straits and the southeastern Gulf and most of the subtropics, it's very warm already, getting potentially even looks like a little over 90 degrees Fahrenheit. And even the East Coast, I mean, at least for the Mid-Atlantic and Southeast Coast, it's definitely at or above 80 degrees Fahrenheit. And even for the Northeast New England coastline, of course, it's a good bit cooler, but it's generally been warming up a lot quicker and a lot more than we thought it would. And right now, it seems like it's around between like 70 to 80 degrees Fahrenheit. And I mean, that was very interesting to see Tropical Storm Faye in these waters really form and honestly strengthen a lot more than any of us really thought it would. So that was very interesting to see. We'll just quickly look at the GFS model just to zoom out to the North Atlantic and show you what the GFS model, I'll only show you what the GFS model right now is showing between now and like really the end of its run, just show you what the kind of how the precipitation is going and how it's going so far. Of course, it doesn't look like the GFS is really calling for anything to become tropical or anything yet at all. Man, my computer's so damn slow today. It's honestly really pissing me off. It's really not calling for anything much. I mean, there's a good amount of precipitation, for the East Coast. We'll get a decent amount of rain, really, for a lot of the East Coast over the next few days, next week or so. But then, actually, I mean, we're getting out pretty far, honestly. This is getting towards the 240-hour mark, so this is, honestly, at this point, still to take it with a grain of salt. But the GFS does show this area in the MDR region, forming a low-pressure center, showing it getting down towards, 1,010 millibars, 1,009, but doesn't really form into anything. So, I mean, I guess we'll have to watch this maybe, especially as we get into the next week, if this really does start to continue to be shown on the GFS. But for right now, really, the GFS isn't showing much of anything for the Atlantic. But I do, so now for the remainder of the video, I want to compare this to, compare the 2020 Atlantic hurricane season thus far to two other seasons that we could really compare this to a good bit. So as of right now, you can see we've had a total of 6 named storms. Every single depression that has formed into a named storm, so we both have 6 total depressions and 6 total storms. We have 9 total deaths thus far, and total damage as of right now is above $543 million. Right now, we're still right now waiting to see how much total damage Faye has caused. If we scroll down, here's Tropical Storm Faye. It says overall Faye caused only minor to moderate damage to Delaware, New Jersey, and New England. 3 people drowned due to rip currents and storm surge. Right now, like, for my kind of prediction for how much total damage Faye caused, I'm saying a range of between $200 and $400 million in damage. You can see all of the systems thus far have been tropical storms. 6 storms in a row, only tropical storms. We have not had our first hurricane yet. Of course, we'll have to wait a long time, a good bit longer still, of course, to get our first major hurricane. But I do think Hannah will become our first hurricane and even potentially our first major hurricane of the season, because I do think it will form going into the very beginning of August. And, of course, August is the beginning month of the peak of the hurricane season, and we already have really all the prime conditions for any storms forming during the peak of the season to really strengthen a ton. So we'll really have to keep our eyes out for that. So Faye impacted the east coast of the United States, including New England, and Faye became the first tropical system, fully tropical system, to impact New England in almost 8 years since Hurricane Sandy, which honestly for me I was thrilled about. I was really excited about that. In fact, my friend and I went down to my local coastline, my beach area, and we took videos during Faye. We were there for like 2 hours or so at night. It was really fun. We got to feel Faye's true effects, especially its strongest winds. For where we were, we got sustained winds of 20 to 25 miles per hour, and it gusted to around 30 miles per hour. So it was, decent wind. And but honestly, it was definitely not as strong as we thought it would be, to any extent at all. So really, let's look at how the season has been going. We'll look at this graph mainly of the timeline of where all these storms have formed. So we've had 2 named storms in May, 2 named storms in June, and 2 named storms already in July. So it's kind of a pattern already. But I do think July will have at least 1 more named storm. So we'll probably see 3 named storms for the whole month of July, which is very interesting because we've seen, honestly, some of the most active months already for tropical systems in a way. I mean, for June especially, we saw 2 named storms in June. We really had like a 2-year lull of having no named storms form in June, so this was definitely something to happen. Now let's compare the season and kind of where we are right now. Today is July 13th. And so we'll look at the 2017 Atlantic hurricane season first. Of course, we all remember this season very well. This is the costliest tropical cyclone season on record, having a total damage of at or above $294.92 billion in damage, well surpassing 2005 for costliest tropical cyclone season on record. 2005's total damage for its hurricane season was only around like $172 billion in damage, I think. Of course, which is also an extreme amount of money, but the 2017 was nuts, especially because of Harvey, Irma, and Maria. But at this point in the hurricane season this year compared to 2017, 2017 only had, by this point, 3 named storms and a tropical depression by July 13th. So, of course, we are well exceeding 2017 for total activity thus far. And, honestly, it's best compared to 2017 in this case just because of the fact that all of these were actually just tropical storms, just like this year so far. But, of course, we've had a few more tropical storms thus far than 2017. But, of course, that's something to just, kind of interesting to compare to, just because, 2017 was, of course, a very active year, one of the most damaging year on record for an Atlantic hurricane season. But, early on in the season, we really didn't have too much activity at all. So, that was very interesting to see. And, the total number of actual activity for 2017 was 17 total named storms, 10 hurricanes, and 6 major hurricanes. 2017 actually was 1 major hurricane away from tying 2005 for the record most amount of major hurricanes on record, which was very interesting to actually kind of find out. I've really actually looked and found that out fully just like within the past year, which was kind of shocking to me. But I was like, wow, okay. I mean, kind of makes sense. But let's compare it to the 2005 hurricane season. For where we are thus far, we're at July 13th, and during the 2005 hurricane season, by July 13th, well, you can see we already had 2 tropical storms and 3 hurricanes by July 13th, 2 of which were major hurricanes, Emily and Dennis, Category 4 and Category 5. Of course, that's the major difference comparing so far the 2020 Atlantic hurricane season to 2005 thus far. That we've had a lot more strong, intense storms that created much more ACE amounts. By the way, for those of you who don't know, ACE stands for Accumulated Cyclone Energy. And, as of right now, the 2020 Atlantic hurricane season has a total ACE of only 6.905 units. 2005, on the other hand, probably by that point, honestly, it probably had, I don't even know. I can't really even guess, to be honest. Where does it show? Where does it show 2005's total accumulated cyclone energy? Let's try and find it. I don't know why it's not showing it. That's weird that it's not showing it. I don't know. But, of course, the ACE amounts by this point in 2005 were definitely a lot higher than the 2020 Atlantic hurricane season by this point. So, that's really the major difference between comparing this year's hurricane season to 2005. Now, I mean, of course, a lot of people, including me, are comparing the 2020 Atlantic hurricane season a lot to 2005. And for me, that's really mainly because I do think the main thing I'm really comparing the 2020 Atlantic hurricane season to 2005 hurricane season is really because I do think that by the time we finish going through all of the total named storms by the end of this year's hurricane season, I think we will get through beta. So I think we will get into the Greek alphabet, but not too far in. But we will get, I think, very close to around 2005's numbers. I think for this year's hurricane season also, I think that we have a decent shot at trying to at least tie 2005 for the record amount of total major hurricanes, honestly. Total storms, which was 28, I don't know. I think we'll be a few storms short of that, and hurricanes definitely a few hurricanes short of that, because there's 15 record total amount of 15 hurricanes for the 2005 hurricane season. I think we'll only see, for my forecast right now, I think we'll only see 11 hurricanes total. So we'll get very close for that as well, and I think that is honestly also very doable for this year's hurricane season. I think we will get a lot of hurricanes. I think we'll get into a little above 10 hurricanes so far for the entirety of this season. Because especially due to the fact that for the peak of the season, August and September, I think it'll really blow up, and we'll get a ton of activity and ton of strong systems forming. So that's really why I'm comparing this year's hurricane season 2020 to 2005. And I think we'll definitely surpass 2017 by a good bit as well. So honestly, I think we'll be in between as of right now, 2017 and 2005, for the majority, for the most part. But I think we will get pretty close to 2005 in the end. I think we'll just come short of the 2005's numbers for the most part. Especially because I think if by mid-August we see our total amount of named storms around 10, around 10 named storms total, I think I will have to put out a video just showing that I upped my forecast for total amount of named storms. I'm calling for 20 right now. If we get 10 by mid-August, I think I'll have to up it to 23 total named storms. But I will keep the forecast total amount of hurricanes and major hurricanes the same, because I feel very confident in that. I don't think I have to change that at all, honestly. But I think we'll at least potentially have a few more named storms that will most likely just be tropical storms if we have around a total amount of 10 named storms by mid-August. But, yeah, that's really it for today's video, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this one. I actually really was excited to make this video because I thought that it would be really fun to make and very interesting for you guys to just, learn about a little bit and hear about. But I really hope you enjoyed, honestly, and hopefully you liked it. Please like, comment, subscribe below. Please, if you're a new watcher, I would really like for you to subscribe. Consider subscribing. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Yeah, bye.